tree and speaks my name. And do I dream again? For now I found the phantom of the opera is there inside my Lord, darker darkness, forget these wide-eyed fears. I'm here, nothing can harm you. My words will warm and calm you. Promise me that all you say is true. That's all I ask
I am Grand Marshal Jonathan Krasno, and I would like to call to order the commencement of the School of Management of the State University of New York at Binghamton. Everyone, please rise as you are able. We welcome you to join vocalist Raya Bolander in singing the national anthem.
Stripes and bright stars o'er the perilous fight, o'er the ramparts we watched, were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets were bombs bursting
Everyone, please be seated.
Good afternoon. As Dean of the School of Management, it is my great pleasure to welcome you to the School of Management commencement ceremony. This is a special ceremony as we bring together our master's and baccalaureate candidates as well as their families and friends. Congratulations to you all. Before we proceed with our ceremony, I would like to welcome members of the Binghamton University Council who are joining us today. Please hold your applause until they've all been introduced. Catherine Grant Madigan, Chair. Linda Beamer, Dennis McCabe, Nora Monasheri, Student Representative. I would also like to introduce our other special guests who sit with us on the stage this afternoon. They will stand as I call their names. Please hold your applause until all have been introduced. President Harvey Stenger, Donald Hall, Provost and Executive Vice President for Academic Affairs, Manoj Agarwal, Professor, Director, MS Data Analytics Program, Andrea Falcone, Dean, University Libraries, Joseph Hoffman, Undergraduate Academic Advisor, Karen Jones, Vice President for Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion, John Cook, Vice President for Advancement, Jonathan Krasno, Professor, Political Science, Chair, Faculty Senate Executive Committee, Michael Lane, Keynote Speaker, Andre Mathis, Professional Staff Senate, Pamela Mission, Platform Party Marshal, Professor, Environmental Studies, Chief Sustainability Officer, Nora Monasheri, Student Representative, Binghamton University Council, Student Speaker, Allison Yamwame, Assistant Director, Dual Diploma Programs, Brian Rose, Vice President for Student Affairs, Kara Tridell, Alumni Association President. Please join me in applauding all these special guests. Will all faculty on the stage and in the audience please rise as you are able? I would like to recognize all of the esteemed faculty members who have mentored and guided our graduates. Your efforts have been crucial to the intellectual growth and achievement we celebrate today. We would also like to acknowledge the efforts of our staff, many of whom are here today volunteering at this ceremony. Please join me as we applaud their support of and dedication to the success of our students. I would also like to thank the Binghamton University Wind Symphony, our vocalist, and the Edward P. Maloney Memorial Pipe Band for their participation in today's celebration. Again, welcome to our celebration of the School of Management Class of 2024. So my advice to the class of 2024 can be summed up in one four-letter word. Not that four-letter word. Here it is. Read. Read every day, especially the news from around the world. Read professional publications, journal articles, children's books, and position papers. And read books, all kinds of books. Read authors you agree with and authors you don't agree with. But let the process be thoughtful and contemplative. And more importantly, let it unfold over time. If you think about it, reading is one of the most precious autonomous actions we can take. You are solely in control of how you hear the story, where you add emphasis, how you reread, and when you experience emotion. You are the reader and the leader. In a world of instant gratification, short attention spans, and hopeless comparisons to unrealistic ideals on social media, reading has become something of a lost art. Just remember that a lifelong commitment to reading is a lifelong commitment to learning. I've yet to meet anyone that said, "I wish I hadn't learned so much in my lifetime." Take a minute, take an hour, take a day, and just immerse yourselves in reading. In the words of Mark Twain, a person who won't read has no advantage over a person who can't read. On behalf of the faculty and staff of the School of Management, we hope the time you spent with us at SOM is just the start of your incredible journey. Good luck and congratulations, class of 2024. It is now my pleasure to introduce President Harvey Stenger.
Come in hot, Dave. Whoa! SOM! Are you ready? All right. Congratulations, class of 2024. Great job. I want to recognize the faculty and staff members who've educated, mentored, supported, and guided our graduates. Your efforts have been crucial to the intellectual and personal growth we celebrate today. Thank you so much, faculty. I would also like to recognize the parents, the grandparents, the friends, and family here with us today to share in the joy of watching your loved one reach an important life milestone. Your support was crucial to your graduate success. They would not be here without you. Thank you, parents. The degree our graduates receive today is a symbol that tells the world they have achieved a level of expertise that will allow them to advance in their chosen discipline. It symbolizes that you have the prerequisite knowledge and passion to add to the quality of life we lead as global citizens. Finding your passion takes hard work. You must deeply engage in a subject, investing your time and your intelligence. I hope that Binghamton played a large role in this journey of discovery for you. We live in a world that requires capable professionals who have broad perspectives and who want to work to improve our businesses and institutions, or who have dreams of an entrepreneurial future. We need people who can think critically, analyze precisely, address complex ideas, and have been educated in a way that encouraged and developed an ethical perspective in business. I am confident that you will rise to these challenges because I've seen what you've been capable of as ambitious and dedicated students. Let me be the first to welcome you into this next chapter of your life. I look forward to learning of your many future successes and I hope that you will remain steadfast members of the Binghamton University community. Congratulations. It's now my pleasure to introduce Provost Donald Hall.
Good afternoon, everyone, and it's my pleasure to be among those celebrating with you today as the Chief Academic Officer of Binghamton University. Let me take this opportunity to congratulate all of our graduates and their families and friends who've supported them throughout their amazing journey and on the many achievements we are recognizing today. You are truly remarkable students who've brought your intellectual curiosity, work ethic, and yes, sense of humor to bear throughout your time here. As you graduate from Binghamton, you will take with you what you've learned in your classes, through your internships, from the student organizations you've participated in, and from the thousands of personal interactions you've had with those around you. You'll take all of these experiences, and I know you will become change makers in the world. We are all living in a different world since the pandemic upended our lives, but your Binghamton education and experiences will serve you well, whether you continue your education or whether you head straight into the new world's workforce. And there's good news on that front, because according to the National Association of Colleges and Employers, 83% of employers anticipate increasing or maintaining their rate of hiring for the class of 2024 compared to a year ago. The same organization reports 90% of employers are looking for evidence that applicants can solve problems, and 80% are seeking those who have strong teamwork skills. That's also good news for you, because you're leaving us with a strong foundation that's helped you hone your critical thinking skills, decision-making, and communication skills, and that will serve you well in whatever career path you follow. As you've prepared throughout your time here to tackle what is ahead, the next decisions you might find yourself facing are things like, what do I want my work life to look like? How will I maintain a work-life balance? My advice to you is that I've always followed. Pursue that which you love and which your passion takes you toward. Make the decisions that are the best ones possible from the choices before you, but as you make your way forward, remember to define your value to prospective employers. Show them you know how to solve problems, that you know how to play well with others on teams, that you learn to be a leader at Binghamton, and that you are a great communicator. These are the skills that all of you have acquired here, and I can't say enough about them. These are skills that will serve you well in whatever endeavors you undertake. So thank you for choosing Binghamton. It's been a great pleasure having you as our students here. Congratulations on your many accomplishments, and please, please stay in touch with us over time and keep us informed of the many amazing things that I know you're going to do in the future. Congratulations, class of 2024.
Thank you, Provost Hall. It is now my distinct pleasure to introduce our speaker, Michael Lane. Michael Lane is chairman of U.S. Wealth for BlackRock and a member of the U.S. Wealth Executive Committee and the BlackRock Global Operating Committee. Working with financial advisors for 3 decades, Michael oversees the business that serves the largest BlackRock relationships across the wealth industry. Prior to becoming chairman, Michael was head of iShares for U.S. Wealth Advisory since joining BlackRock in 2018. Prior to joining BlackRock, Michael served in a variety of senior global leadership roles at Dimensional Fund Advisors. Prior to Dimensional, Michael led the wealth business of TIAA-CREF. Michael has published 3 books, including Secrets of the Wealth Makers, as well as a range of articles on financial planning. He is recognized as one of the most influential leaders in his industry and has been featured in several publications. Additionally, Michael co-led the development of a not-for-profit initiative focusing on bringing diverse talent to the financial services industry, and is also active with a charity, Water, a not-for-profit that has brought clean water to over 15 million individuals. An '89 graduate of Binghamton University, he has served as an executive committee member of the Binghamton University Foundation Board and received the Medal of Distinguished Service in 2019. As a former men's tennis student athlete at Binghamton, the tennis complex was renamed the Lane Stark Tennis Center based on his passion for the sport, his involvement with the program, and his continued support. Most importantly, Michael is father of 3, residing with his family in Austin, Texas. Michael, if you will join me at the podium. I'm delighted to present Michael Lane with this plaque honoring his distinguished service to the profession, to the community, and to the School of Management at Binghamton University. You can set that right down on the table, right over here.
Okay, great. Thank you. Oop, this one's mine. Great. Oop. Thank you, and I hope that the length of my bio does not count against my time for the rest of this talk, because I was told I only have a certain amount. So thank you, Dean Dion, President Stenger, the faculty, the staff of Binghamton University and the School of Management. This is an incredible honor to be standing here with you today, and most of all, congratulations to you, the 2024 class of the School of Management. I'm excited to share a few important lessons I've learned over the course of my career that I hope can act as guiding principles as you embark on your own professional journeys. I will also issue a few challenges because I am also an alumni and we have high hopes for you and high expectations. So this will be part reflection on some of the people that have had tremendous success and part challenges and lessons. But first, it is important that I introduce my absolute, all-time, hands-down, favorite alumni of Binghamton University, my wife, Lisa Marie Moscardini Lane, who's up in the box. Lisa is also a member of the class of 1989, and she continued on and got her master's degree from Binghamton University in 1991. Now, we met in class in 1987, after seeing her around campus, one day I needed notes from a class, and I walked with her to the student union, and I asked her on a date. And so our first date was an Endicott, and it was a movie. And none of you probably students will remember this film, but your parents will. And our first date, and if you're thinking what in 1987 was showing at that time, well, it was this sobering film, Fatal Attraction. Can't make that up. So, not a first date recommendation, you can Google it later. But then again, we've lasted 37 years, so are there some lessons learned that night? I have countless fond memories from this incredible place. But one that stands out vividly for me was freshman year. Sitting in the, I'm still thinking of a Fatal Attraction, sitting in the academic advisor's office, literally crying. But I wasn't alone. My roommate, Rob Dope from CIW, was in the room crying along with me. And the reason was, we were both aspiring biochem majors. But it turned out that our high school academic prowess did not immediately translate to the much higher standards of what was known then as SUNY Binghamton. And we were quite concerned that we were going to fail out of this place. Well, after fearing the worst, you fast forward to today, and I'm delighted to share that my roommate, Rob Dote, a father of 4, a husband of Patty Dote, he stayed the course and is now a successful dentist on Long Island and is here on campus with us this week because his daughter Ashley is also graduating from Binghamton University, which is awesome. And another daughter, Caitlin, graduated from the School of Management in 2021. So awesome, Mr. Dote. I'm immensely proud of the success of not only my former roommate, but every person on that freshman year CIW floor. People like Mitch Goldstein, a Binghamton University Foundation board member who has excelled at Aries Capital, and he's giving back to the school. Mark Dielli, a former commencement speaker in 2018, who lived right next door and was a housemate of mine as well, who has achieved incredible success at Ernst & Young and also giving back to this school. And if I had more time, I would go on. but I'm limited, so I will stop there and just say that it is truly remarkable to witness the achievements from my freshman floor, the tennis teams I had the pleasure of playing with, and among my fraternity, Sigma Alpha Mu. Now, you're sitting here, and I am extremely confident that you will find yourself in the coming years often reflecting on the successes of those sitting around you today. And some you will have expected, and some will surprise you, but never underestimate an SOM grad. Come on, guys, never underestimate an SOM grad. All right, what's become clear is that Binghamton University develops the absolute best in the world in many industries. I could list a ton of them, but finance, law, politics, accounting, medicine, entrepreneurship, and so many more. In fact, just last week, I'm sure I'm not the only one that saw this, Forbes listed what they called the new Ivies, 10 private and public institutions representing the very best educational facilities today. There were 1,700 plus institutions evaluated with more than 4,000 students. And not only were you in the top 10, but if you look at the list, we were number 1. Which proves that marketing matters. Whoever said Binghamton University instead of University of Binghamton, well done. It was alphabetical. Now, but they only had 10 out of 1,700. We were in there, so that's good. Time to transition to the career learnings, but I got you still. I was told after 5 minutes people are usually bored, but we're not there. So, time to transition to career learnings part of the discussion today. There are many, 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 many lessons I have learned in my 35-year career so far. I won't go there. And I've got to limit it to just 3 today. And those 3 that I'm going to share with you are stories about resilience, reputation, and recognition. So we're going to start with resilience. What you didn't hear in my very long bio that I kind of wrote, what you didn't hear about from Dean Dion was that I grew up close to here. I grew up in Corning, New York, with 2 older brothers and a younger sister. And at age 11, my father, a high school teacher, became a single parent. So you could imagine, money was tight before, money got really tight after that. It was during these very formative years that I learned if you want something, you have to go get it. Nothing's coming to you. Now, I didn't realize at the time, I didn't realize the value of that, the empowerment of having to work for everything that you have. And I will admit, at the time, I thought it was a little bit unfair that I had to hold down multiple jobs as the cart boy during winter at Wegmans with no boots or gloves. I would go inside to be cashier to avoid frostbite. I also waited tables, bus tables. I even bartended a bar that some of you will remember called Scandals in the crowd if you're alumni. That one wasn't so bad. And then I also sold shoes at Endicott Johnson's down the road, which is another restaurant. And all of those experiences, working sometimes 4 jobs at the same time while going to school, contributed to the foundation of a story. All of you that are graduating today have a story. And many of you will have a story that will be based on resilience, overcoming obstacles far more difficult and challenging than my own. My travels to the poverty-stricken areas in Colombia, South Africa, Chile, and even here in the US have made me realize that my struggles as a youth pale in comparison to millions. I had it relatively easy. But regardless of your relative struggle, it is important to embrace the obstacles you have overcome to be here today. Write down your story. Write down your story. And use it as a story of resilience. Use it as a story as a differentiator when you communicate who you are. Use it as a reminder of where you've been. But most importantly, use it to drive you forward. The greatest threat to the future success of anyone graduating today is entitlement. The feeling that you deserve anything will stifle your growth. You've had to work hard to get to this point. And even though you're graduating from an elite institution, I challenge you to expect nothing to come easy. I do it every day. I'm asking you to do it. Check your ego at the door. Put in twice the amount of work of everybody else around you, and I guarantee you, full disclosure, will come later. I guarantee you, you will reach levels in your career that far exceed your expectations. The next important theme, and it's an important one, is reputation. I've had the opportunity over the course of my career to study leaders of all types, both at work and during programs at the Aspen Institute and in Fontainebleau, France at INSEAD. I've also studied leadership on battlefields at places like Gettysburg and Saratoga. Now, much can be learned by studying great battles of the past and the great and not so great leaders and soldiers. What you learn quickly is that reputation has considerable influence over outcomes. Leading from the front, what we call often leading by example, are traits that have led to remarkable success on the battlefield and at work. And do not underestimate the value of your reputation inside and outside of the office, either as a leader or a soldier. When my fellow leaders, when we're looking to assign projects, we talk about your reputation. When we're ready to promote people, we talk about your reputation. And when we do the thing I hate the most, when times are difficult, which affects friends, when we have to lay people off, we talk about reputation. Reputation should not be accidental. If I were to ask you right now, you, here, today, what you believe your reputation to be, what would you say? What would you say others sitting near you would say about you? When I coach individuals early in their careers, I have them define for me what they want others to say about them. How do they want to be perceived? What attributes do they want others to experience with them? It is a great exercise to begin your career actually writing that down. Being purposeful about your reputation is an important first step in your career, regardless of your occupation, as it provides the foundation of a path to follow for how you behave and engage. I made so many mistakes early in my leadership career, too many to count, and many of those mistakes could have been avoided if I just took the time to define who I wanted to be known as. So I challenge you, before you begin your career journey, define how you want others to see you, because it really actually matters. And it will make a meaningful difference as you become leaders in your respective industries. Okay, the third and final theme to discuss is recognition. My children are all grown adults like you, so you can imagine I have not been involved in youth sports for a while. But I'm hoping, that the idea of giving everyone a trophy for participation has ended. Yeah. I'm glad I'm not alone. Drives me nuts. That was off script. The concept was noble when it was designed, but as we know, that's not how life works. If we received, say, economic recognition for effort, I would have been able to retire just a few short years after working here in Binghamton, across the street in the red brick building with a blue stripe around it that you probably never noticed, but you will now. I often worked in that building 80 to 90 hours a week when I first started my career, and I barely made enough money to eat in the first few years. Lisa, my wife, and I, we would order one calzone at an Italian place and split it because we couldn't afford two. And we would do the unthinkable when the heat in our very cheap, very old apartment on Oak Street, some of you would know where that is, would go out. We would use the oven to stay warm. Now, for anybody that doesn't know, I heard some oohs behind me. That's how you die from carbon monoxide poisoning. So don't do that. But we were desperate. But the resilience that I learned growing up helped me land rewarding leadership roles. And fortunately, while early in my career, still in my 20s, I had the opportunity to lead a division of a company in Louisville, Kentucky, where a man, the president of the company named Rudy Gerner, I meet a man named Rudy Gerner. Over the course of my career, I worked for and with incredible people. I know. I've traveled the world with Nobel Prize winners and worked directly for and with multi-billionaire founders. But when it comes to the lesson of recognition, Rudy defined it for me. Every Sunday night, I would send an update to my team and the leaders of the company, including Rudy. And every Sunday night, rather than just a congrats or a pat on the back or a job well done, Rudy would reply with questions that would challenge me and my team. He realized that recognition for achievements is important, but challenging me to be better, think more deeply, be more strategic, that was actually meaningful. By challenging me and pushing me, He was showing me what's most important and should be most important to every one of you. He was showing me respect. Rudy was not micromanaging me. He was not telling me what to do or looking over my shoulder. He was just asking more from me. He was asking me questions that would make me think more deeply and in time would make me a better leader and would improve my team. That's true respect. What I learned from Rudy was to raise the bar of expectations of both myself and everyone around me. We all like the occasional good job or well done, I do too. But he taught me that seeking constant positive recognition will limit my growth. And I hope you will take this last challenge to heart and realize that the most valuable recognition, the most valuable respect you will be given is not from the cheerleader who celebrates basic accomplishments or gives you that participation trophy. It is the person who respects you enough to challenge you and pushes you to be better. Seek that out. Now lastly, and I mean this very sincerely, welcome to the Binghamton alumni family. From this day forward, if you are anything like me, just like last week, while boarding a plane, you'll high-five some mid-20s guy with a beard walking by you just for wearing a Bearcat sweatshirt. And I am confident he is still confused by that. But I love seeing our alumni school pride, and it makes such an impression on me. I absolutely love it. What also makes an enormous impact on me is reading about the success of my fellow alumni, and I cannot wait to read about you. Beginning today, all of us in this room will forever have commonality. And we need to cheer one another on. Because in a world of hostile division, where the extremes dominate the narrative, we should unite as alumni. And we should be there for one another and help each other achieve whatever we individually define as success. And my final words, but I am enjoying being here. Could go longer. Dean Dion's like, hell no. I hope you leave here and make your fellow alumni proud. Be resilient, write down and tell that story. Develop a reputation we all get to read about in a good way. And know that from this day forward, you've earned the respect and the recognition of having accomplished something truly special by graduating from the Binghamton University School of Management. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Michael, for your inspired remarks. It was a delight to host you today. I would now like to introduce our Alumni Association President, Kara Tridell. Kara would like to share her congratulations on behalf of our Alumni Association.
Congratulations to you, Binghamton's class of 2024. It is truly an honor to be sharing this occasion with you as the president of your Alumni Association. It's hard to believe that just 8 years ago, I was sitting where you are, feeling the same emotions as you. I was excited to begin my next phase, but sad to be leaving friends and a place that became second home to me. It was also overwhelming to think about the many adjustments I'd have to make in moving from campus life to being out in the world, including moving back in with mom and dad. Our alumni community has been a tremendous source of support for me. It's why I've continued to be engaged with the university, and it's why I encourage everyone else to be involved. I acknowledge that I'm standing before you quite young, and I have to be honest that when I was elected to become the president of your Alumni Association, I was nervous. I was nervous about leading a group filled with so many achievements and accolades while I was still growing into my own self. What I quickly found was that I had no reason to be nervous. I was and continue to be surrounded by a community that provides endless support, encourages success, and celebrates wins. By graduating today, you are automatically a member of this community, the Alumni Association. Inside your diploma cover, you'll find a card that talks about what is available to you. In addition to the friends you've made here on campus, you have a worldwide network of alumni that you could tap into. more than 150,000 people across more than 100 countries. Wherever you go, there is likely to be a Binghamton grad who can offer support, answer questions, or simply chat about your shared Binghamton experiences. What I like to say is don't be shy about reaching out. I know I'm typically not. In addition, there are many opportunities to stay connected with the university, and you don't need to be here on campus to appreciate such. The Alumni Association connects you with other Binghamton alumni, helps to build skills that can translate to your professional life, and expand your network. Overall, we are a resource that I encourage you to take advantage of, even if it's simply connecting with us on LinkedIn or popping by our tailgate tent during homecoming. Enjoy today with your family and friends. Experience all the feels, and know that you're ready for whatever life brings you. You're a Bearcat, you could do this. Again, congratulations, your Alumni Association is excited to have you.
Thank you, Kara. At this time, we will recognize the accomplishments of our master's degree candidates. Will the candidates for master's degree please rise? President Stenger, as Dean of the School of Management, I am pleased to present to you these fine candidates who have fulfilled all their master's degree requirements as prescribed by the faculty. School Marshal Joey Tsai, please lead the master's candidates to the platform so that they may receive recognition for their academic achievement.
Alexander John Gilson. Ethan Pierce Gallagher. Michael K. Bush. Dylan McDermott. Grace E. Vittoria. Tyler Anthony Green. Arena McCorna. Yi Zhang. Yingqi Zheng. Justin Saccone. Quinlan Thomas Ingram. Hung D. Tu. Lucas Francis Grabowski. Raymond Olinto Costanzo. Blaise Hank Yakubi. Ely Kame Rubenstein. Ryan Peter Marsh. Benjamin Daniel Visca. Alexander Iran Chorny. Nicholas A. Labanca. Luke Rozachki. Axel Lucas Garcia. Timur Khan. Mavish Khan. Isabella Shea Mineo. Cameron Strider Wap Yip Man. Lou Garcia. Ashley Song. Annie Shu. Samil Levin. Jack Gerald Casabone. Andrew Charles Fisher. Luke A. Scher. Seamus Joseph Fallon. Evan L. Bandini. Jonathan Thomas Velatanga. Sophia Chavez Catano, Brendan P. Shanahan, Andrew I. Gerard, Jennifer Page Curran, Madison Alexandra Tobacco, Guy S. Barzilai, Cameron Canton, Melissa Kosovic, Benjamin Horowitz, Daisy Willard, Joshua A. Freifeld, Nicholas A. Mucci, Alex Rocco Sanpansky, Michael Sternbach, Jake Tyler Cassidy, Patrick Nalan, Christopher James Raleigh, Nicole A. DeMille, Etak Malhotra, Brandon Matthew Dulce, Skylar I. Katz, Jasmine Andrea Munoz, Michael Anthony Zarif, Jacob Tyler Nolan, Mark Stern, Charles J. Rosenbaum, Rebecca L. Korn, Cassidy Marie Evans, Angelica Svolos, Shir Nabol, Catherine Jane Mammoet, Gianna Teresa Weed, Connor Joseph Berry, Jack Gabriel Stephen Monahan, Jack Michael Romandetti, Brooke Feedy, Carly E. Vivoliza, Victoria Bess Fondacaro, Andrew J. Ho Kim, Margaret Frances Connors, Tamar Haham McGowan, Avery Copeland, Evetta Ponley, Natalie Ann Daly, Heidi Rachel Reinharz, Lisa Jose, Alexander Billy, Tyler Joseph D'Amato, Anthony C. Woods, Nick Rotondi, Benjamin Ronald Holloway, Murat Yaznagor, Eric S. Davidovich, Michael Martinucci, Zachary Kyle Lichtenstein, Allison Page Hill, Jack B. Koch, Maxwell Ralph Amram, Max S. Himmelfarb, Madison Kathleen Breward, Anna Darling Dean, Jamie Helen Oliver, Jenna Baquicchio, Scarlett Renee Jekic, Marie Collins, Jeremy Ian Tuckman, Christian Pacha, Timothy Aaron Ahn, Justin Lewis Grew, Nicholas Perry, Connor F. McKendry, Hugh Jude White III, John Joseph O'Brien Jr., Sarah Grace McKay, Dominic Migliorato, Grace Chang, Matthew Allen Lotto, Hunter Edward Seaver, Christopher A. Tufano, Aaron C. Kong. Connor Muldoon Forte. Matthew Glick. Nicholas J. Brown. Christopher Park. Karan Imuzal Aglu. Suzanne Rose Bernstein. Christine Sravransky. Kristen Wadig. Roberta Natalie Vasili. Amanda Joanne Harrop. Keith Grisky. Charles Urin. Sophia Leanne Richardson. Aria Manley. Mark Bernard Riley. Jeremy Dylan Kazis. Michael Arthur Colin Campese. Nicole Francis Tomlinson. Henry Thomas Hussing. Matthew J. Zisper. Caleb M. Burson. Matthew Eugene Oliver. Erin Marie Flynn. Alexandra Novel Kia. Christopher John Lipinski. Melissa Alexis Rock. Diana Teresa Eileen Kalifatic. Haley Christine Fight. Justin Danielle Vargas. Gavin James O'Sullivan. Ethan H. Blatt. Connor J. Hughes. John K. DeBenedetto. Carrie Paul Novick. Liam Kaminsky. Quinn P. Coughlin. Eve Yazamin Cecilmus. Kaylin Dougal. Enver Kesgin. Seth J. Gunsberg. Adrian Michael Ripstein. Jason Fabian Bernard Jr. Estelin Alexander Jara Velez. Nicholas Michael De Felicia. Thomas Joseph Turturro. Eigen Hurdle Bernstein. Jackson Eric Yeager. William Charles O'Shea. Alexis Josephine Medavoy. Cameron S. Crawford. Angelica Lee. Brian Zhu. Jack Shea Katia. John Patrick Kennedy Bauza. Alan Puskar. Tyler Hamill. Shane Culver. Allison Nicole Getz. Madeline Miao Hu. Cece Zhu. Nancy Chen. Jack Harrison Green. Joshua Lawrence Lehman. Evan Leo Kratka. Elianan Gorfin Kell. Mia S. Levinson Raskin. Nora Sarah Monasheri. Caitlin R. Verno. Madeline C. Rutnick. Nicholas J. Pisani. Michael P. Ott. Lilana T. Tasavic. Tiger Almasov. Jason Eric Natal. Eric Michael Davidov. Bryn Alexandra McLean. Jamie Lynn Zahn. Zi Hao Chen. Simranjit Kaur. Benjamin Gregory Tomakich. Dominic James Esposito. Natalie Moses. Evan Scott Sahumer. Richard M. Tarangelo III. Jessica Lauren Gawalb. Rachel C. Seffarelli. Maxwell Group. Benjamin Scott Foster. Ha Wen Young. Michael G. Martin. Abubakar Kalia. David Antonio Romero. Denise Ranzis. Michael Lee Carr. Michaela Jessie Diakova. Rachel Olivia Brunhut. Gabriella Grace Martelli. Gaia Neve Price. Anastasia Marie Haynes. Olivia Lords Martelli. Jacqueline Rose Meyerback. Jenna Ashley Diamond. Taylor Juliet Shapiro. Alexis Asharian. Amit T. Perez. Gabriela Lazarano. Anna M. Brichta. Emily Hannah Stern. Jillian L. Abizadeh. Zachary Francis Donnellan. Owen Rollins. Dante J. Cariati. Ryan M. Lee. Connor Jeffrey Gellerbert. Diego Jose Morales. James D. Schultes. Matthew Edson. Trini Wang. Vincent Dong. Erica Shu. Alan Shu. Jason F. Bacala. Helen Chan. Ashley Yim. Tiffany Chuan. Sebastian Hua Mei. Lucas Kruger. Michael Robert Lopez. Jude H. Ibrahim. Marco E. Montone. Elliot Morse. Gregory J. Lethbridge. Xavier Kip Hawkins. Gongbing Wang. Menki Yu. Sade Salazar. Sage McCormick Kelly. Olivia Chin. Kelly Ka Yen Mak. Kelly Chan. Veronica Liu. Emma Regina Brower. Nicholas James Venturini. Omar Amir Mafahali. At this time, I would like to call Professor Manoj Agarwal to introduce the candidates earning their Masters of Science in Data Analytics.
Michael Carbone. Noah Rini. Mark Scanlon. Sean Felix Michael Galligan. Maxwell Charles Napoli. Amy Puthumana. Katrina E. Knickerbocker. Latoya Hui Zheng. Manjushri Mitesh Ragwani, Benjamin Fay, Tushar Arora, Tyler J. Atlas, Shemar Thompson, Anika Pandey, Aishwarya Vijay Shelke,
All master's candidates from the School of Management, please stand. President Stenger, as Dean of the School of Management, I am honored to present you these candidates for master's degrees.
For those who have successfully completed all degree requirements by the authority vested in me by the Chancellor and the Board of Trustees of the State University of New York and the Board of Regents of the University of the State of New York, I confer on each of you the appropriate master's degree with all the rights and privileges which pertain to that degree here and elsewhere. On behalf of the Binghamton University community, I congratulate you for this well-earned accomplishment.
The recipients of the master's degree from the School of Management may be seated. Thank you. At this time, we will recognize the accomplishments of our baccalaureate degree candidates. First, we will recognize students who have achieved Latin honors. Latin honors are based on a student's cumulative grade point average. We recognize 3 levels of achievement: cum laude, magna cum laude, and summa cum laude. The names of the candidates for these honors appear in the commencement program. We will not announce each by name, but we shall recognize students attending today by having them stand in place. Candidates graduating cum laude, please rise. You may be seated. Candidates graduating magna cum laude, please rise. You may be seated. Here we go. Candidates graduating summa cum laude, please rise. Congratulations, you may be seated. My congratulations to all of you on your outstanding academic achievements. Will all the baccalaureate candidates please rise? President Stenger, as Dean of the School of Management, I am pleased to present to you these candidates who have fulfilled all their baccalaureate degree requirements as prescribed by the faculty. Will the first row of graduates please remain standing? All others can be seated. School Marshal Joey Tsai and Student Marshal Jaden Price, please lead the first group of candidates to the platform so that all may receive recognition for their academic achievement.
Jaden Price. Aaron Timothy Tebow. Ross Lewis Chazanow. Dylan John Iacovoni. Thomas Robert Sofield III. Anthony J. Tadaro. Anthony James Carroll. Lorenzo Peter Ramos. Liam Edward Ferris. Patrick M. Murad. Davina Rossi. Daniel Akinrayli. Audie Cambillo. Nan Lin. Tyler C. Hothersall. Andrew Lee Siklawa. Adam Michael Green. Ryan Sean Waters. Patrick Alfred Getz. Daniel Patrick Cregan. Nicholas James Simonetti. Vincent Vito Santoyama. Jake Robert Murciano. Michael Andrew Oberländer. Kenny Key. Leslie Rebecca Blau. Sean Carlos Vieira. Lauren Ashley Mackey. Gabriella Nicole DeBellis. Louis Michael Cerrone. Arham Hawk. Nicholas Morrow DeBellis. Timothy Eloy Duggan. Zarnab Javed. Ryan George Thompson. Liam O'Hanlon. Logan Finley Scott. Henry William James. Hudson Thomas Geitzfeld. Jacob Ryan Marmer. Caitlin Stack. Aiden Michael Moran. Maylan Rose Dolphin. Victoria Nelson Role. Hannah Rose Forbes. Kaylee Dunn. Connor Sean Mills. Emma Alicia Bartolazzo. Sarah Marissa Hausman. Marissa B. Darvin. Grace Isabel Davis. Robert Louis Reining. Wen Trot Herdrick. Zesis Zias. Theodore Sekalaridis. Zarina J. Roy. Joshua Zelig Greenberg. Aaron Nathan Stern. Nicholas Ahern. John R. Big. Daphne Hernandez. Melissa Robin Shapiro. Derek Matthew Wagner. Daniel Joseph Miller. James Joseph Novello. Alexandra Christina Schultz. Matthew Charles Desmond. Sarah M. Crawford. Chelsea Lum. Elizabeth Yang. Chelsea S. Luktama. Kiri Lopez. Colton Vincent Luckfield. Julianne Fernie. Nicole A. Itzo. Laura Marie Watson. Anna Rose Zimmerman. Rose A. Campbell. Andrew Robert Myers. Sharon He. Yidan Dwan. Ria Shukla. Katie Lin III. Xiaotian Liang. Daniel S. Croce. Garrett Lewis Barth. J. Kumar Dewan. Matthew Simon Schwartz. Lucas Ledecarl. Adam Shemesh. Adam Michael Perez. Sean Harrison Lowy. Lazaro Alberto Martinez Castillo. Christopher Harris. Daniel Stephen Hemmer. Alexander Sobrevilla Miguel. Trevor James Connors. Nicholas Michael Orkanian. Alvi Alam. John Edward McWalters. Yaxuan Lee. Benjamin Hoff. Raina Amar. Kara Moskowitz. Hannah Yael Kirch. Sarah Liliana Fisher. Ari Besterman. Samuel Solomon Lehrer. Zeke Rothbort. Benjamin Shore. Jack Margolis. Zachary Adler. Scott Michael Mayer. Jacob Berman. Serena Zoe Shields. Matthew Ian Plotzker. Benjamin Daniel Greenbaum. Jack Christopher Galloway. Dustin Jenko. Justin Lewis Waters. Max Zangiacomi. Connor Kenneth Murray. Ethan Isaac Green. Matthew M. Guinan. Emily Jane Dempsey. Brianna J. M. Lee. Grace Wooden. Helen Nicole Carabasu. Lauren Brittany Levine. Alexis Rose Garris. Bryce Divine Colclough. Ethan W. Kessler. Sam Weingard. Yehuda Davis. Michael G. Rao. Nicholas William Wines. Henry Edge Eckert. Jake Sedegat. Benjamin Isaac Kashipur. Christopher Robert Caridi. Philip Matthew Vetz. Skyla Marie Looney. Bridget Logan Slasky. Kai Zhang. Roger Dean Williams Jr. Daniel John DeFalco. Jason Dolowich. Ryan J. Seedy. John Joseph Murphy. Anthony Frank Neville. Juan Jose Gomez Sasaido. Vincent William Forte. Brendan Mackin. James Nicholas Giacovetti. Cesar Alexander Valdebenito. Jacob Murray Udler. Jacob Robert Singleton. Benjamin S. Matlin. Simone Auslander. Golan Franco. Mira C. Greenspan. Zachary Lewis Schindler. Elijah Shane Zuckerman. Abraham Moshe Rakas. Dean Chidester. Patrick Francis Buff. Mahir Runtive. Nicholas Corby Sanza. Jared Thomas McAvoy. Paul Michael Kelly. Keelan Mullally. Kevin C. Gross. Alex Vinsky. Dominic James Garofalo. Isabella C. Diavanzo. Siona Vera Shetty. Ellie Michael Keating. Anna Levin. Delaney R. Cotter. Tess A. Drosman. Victoria Zoya Kaldarov. Ariana Rose Duffy. Madison Omoredo. Abigail Lily Andrus. Emma Rose Spotto. Emily Hakim. Brett Robert Gable. Andrew August Wong. John Sheridan Conklin. Colin James Hand. Carter Bradley Engel. Charlie Findling. Benjamin Ryan Cam. Nico DeVita. Aiden Jackson Bagey. Nicholas Antonio Bonan. Jack Conan Muldoon. Nihal Zaman. Madison Elizabeth DeRitter. Tony Ann Tedesco. Karina Kwai. Naomi Pan. Brianna Rose Palermo. Elsa Amirati. Mackenzie Claire Dickman. Devin Rose Nicholson. Sabrina Marie Locasio. Emily Pinkasoff. Amanda Ann Gillenwaters. Ryan Lawrence Goldstein. Alexander Craig Dorfschneider. Brody Michael Checo. Michael Angelo Buffalino. Tevian Perez. Sean Patrick Holohan. Patrick Shepka Kovac. Manuel Socorro. Gabriela Del Pazzo. Amanda Meredith Newman. Nicole Rose Spilatris. James Thomas Wiedenman. Trevor Aaron Frey. Brooklyn Rain Talman. Claire Marissa De Giovanni. Patrick Michael Collery. Anthony Tyler Forzano. Nicholas Andrew Miradoli. Daniel Chavaria. Sydney Allison Brown. Valda Monroe Taylor.
The rest of you aren't graduating. Just kidding. At this time, it's my distinct pleasure to introduce, finally, our student speaker, Nora Monasheri. Nora, or as she calls herself, Nora the Explorer, has been a one-of-a-kind student with a go-getter mentality. Nora graduated from SOM undergraduate in 3 years and is now graduating with her master's in business administration. At Binghamton, she served as the student representative for the BU Council, representing 18,000 students, both undergraduate and graduate, to the administration. She also helped found the SOM Diversity, Inclusion, and Belongingness organization alongside Assistant Dean Linda Reynolds, and served on the executive board of the Chabad at Binghamton for the last 3 years, executing events as large as 2,500 students, like the Mega Shabbat hosted in this very room. Nora also reinstated the Roadmap internship with President Stenger, all to help the university continue its dedication to Premier. After graduating, she'll be working at Deloitte as a risk and financial advisory analyst in the fall. Nora, we hope you return and explore Binghamton again soon. Your smile, energy, and dedication to the university will be missed. Please join me in welcoming your student speaker, Nora Monasheri.
Now I'm tall. Woohoo! Thank you, Dean. I'm ready for you to grow up, just don't grow apart from me, my mother said. After fleeing Iran to New York without her parents at the age of 14, and before overseas phone calls were easy to make, my mother was separated from her loved ones for the next 7 years. No wonder then that when it was time for her children to go to college and she faced being separated from her loved ones yet again, she was resistant. But unlike my mother, who fled Iran to escape religious persecution, I chose to leave my hometown to Binghamton University for very different reasons. I always knew I wanted to attend a university that could facilitate my academic and professional ambitions while simultaneously offering me one of the most robust Jewish college communities of any university. Above all, I needed to answer the question I constantly asked myself. What else did life have to offer that wasn't on Long Island, New York? Let me tell you, a lot. So I went for it. I'm going to Binghamton, I told my parents. 4 years later, I wish I could reassure my then anxious high school self that this is the place I would learn the greatest lesson. It's all meant to be. The mantra, "it's all meant to be," is succinctly expressed in the Yiddish term bashert. In Jewish tradition, this phrase sums up an important belief and manifests an attitude of positivity in the face of the challenges we confront. It is a reminder that even when a deadly virus plagues the world, wars break out overseas, or when non-SOMers taunt us about our infamous coloring books, it's meant to be. We don't color. While the term bashert often refers to finding your soulmate, which, Mom, I promise I'll find him one day, it more broadly refers to all things in life, even those that seem merely fortuitous or random. During our time in the School of Management, we've all learned a little something about business. How to make that graph you included in that PowerPoint, how to compete in a case competition, and ultimately, how to make money. But what else is our bashert, or meant to be? Making a living is important, but most important is making a life. To go forward in life, you have to know where you're coming from. Growing up, I was unsure of the person I wanted to be because I seldom understood the beauty in embracing who I already was. I would never talk in Farsi, for example, which is my parents' native language. When I came to Binghamton, all I wanted to do was fit in and forge my own distinctive path. I came to realize, however, that in separating myself from my family roots and legacy, including the great efforts to emigrate from Iran to America, I was losing an essential part of myself. Like everyone here, I also struggled with more pedestrian adjustments to life in Binghamton, like eating in my dorm room during COVID and getting used to Binghamton's ever-changing weather. Later, it was getting rejected from the hundreds of job applications I've submitted. We all know that feeling. But more recently, my struggles have been of a profoundly different order. During my time here, I tried to enrich my concentric circles academically, professionally, and religiously by taking leadership positions on various boards. At some point, I realized I had a name and a brand, like Nora the Explorer. I strived to keep those who relied on me happy, but more importantly, I had the responsibility to represent without bias. But what about my personal views, my essence? Zooming out, how could a group of people like myself and my peers, as well-meaning as we might be, manage a campus divide and deal with issues that are larger than ourselves? I now know I can only be myself, Nora. Even as I listened to and respected divergent views, I have only one truth, and I had to stand by it. Mom, all these years after you fled religious persecution in Iran, how amazing is it that I can stand here and tell you that I had a Shabbat dinner to go to every Friday night at Chabad and a community to grow in and with because of my struggles. And that I became so much stronger because of my struggles. It really was all b'shert. It was meant to be. And Mom, don't cry. One more thing. I haven't grown apart from you. I've only grown closer to the powerful woman you've modeled for me. I love how you can hear her all the way from there. You've showed me that in the face of adversity, you'll always have a choice. Hate has 4 letters, but so does love. Failure has 7 letters, but so does success. Stony Brook has 10 letters, and so does Binghamton. Life is two-sided, so let's all embrace the better side of it. Congratulations, Mazal Tov and Mabruk. Woo, we did it!
Thank you, Nora. Will the remaining candidates please stand? School Marshal Joey Tsai, Please lead the remaining candidates to the platform so that they all may receive recognition for their academic achievement.
Christiana McKellick. Adam David Kowalik. Noah Martin Milrod. Adrian Ng. Max Andrew Grossberg. Ryan H. Levine. Justin Scott Narlinger. Xavier David James Jr. Adrian Kresnicki. Arlen Gashi. Rehan S. Ahmed. Megan E. Levine. Olivia Wu. Athena Dormas. Giada Shatino. Mary G. Donovan. William Alexander Eustick. Liam Edward Moore. Cardell Figberio. Miles Franklin Campbell. Wesley Chan. Victoria Tina Petrakis. Alexa Nicole Uncini. Kayla Paige Davis. Shira Piruzian. Lauren C. Bate. Grace Marina Kane. Catherine G. Sherman. Simone May Revelle. Claire M. Oldham. Lauren Sidney Wexler. Rebecca Emily Horowitz. Matthew Joseph Lathrop. Jacob Daniel Benman. Nicholas James Rietbrook. Sean William Moffett. Matthew Jeremy Zvichar. Michael John Wiggum. Justin Tyler Villavicencio. Joshua A. Levy. Ryan Rabinowitz. Ryan Aiello. Andrew Heffes. Noah Zalkman Turkel. Joshua D. Kurtz. Matthew Joseph Martin. Matthew Migliore. Jessica L. Sarubi. Hayden Thomas Richards. Frank Joseph Russo. Kevin Martin Ryan. Jincheng Yi. Victoria Capusta. Luke Anthony Garris. Nicole Wu. Amy Yu. Maggie Yang. Xinyin Li. Michaela A. Fenton. Darielle Million. Marlene Roxanne Glover. Tatiana Marie Hicks. Sumreen Khan. Tinu Saju. Rubina Firdaus. Jeffrey H. Lee. Dechen D. Pema. Stephanie Chen. Anna Chow. Phoebe Lin. Billy Dong. Kaylee Ishikawa. Michelle Lin. Tracy J. Wang. Benny Zhu. Leah I. Longo. Christy Cheng. Fiona Hyun. Jenny Bao. Ethan Nee. Ivan Liu. Dwight Marlon Davis, Jr. Michael Robert Ameri. Guy Chernin. John Michael Iannarelli. Damon Christopher Lawrence, Jr. Alexander Calderon. Dylan Parks. Adam J. Hess. Ang Sherpa. Ramandeep Kaur. Jaskarn Singh. Riley M. Garcia Nack. Lindsay Ann Garthy. Reagan Elizabeth Evans. Fiona Gual. Madalena R. Kishner. David Leo Triantis. Isaac Doncor Jr. Hector Colon. Maya Serena Samuel. Tonique Blair. C.G. Matthew Chaco. Ethan Zachary Chandy. Liji Ali Civil. Anthony Vlad Maidzel. Xin Yao Chen. Mei Chen Yu. Julia Yang. Claudia Choi. Matthias E. Cho. Youngjun Jin. Ju-an Sir. Rebecca Haun Min. Sarah Y. Chung. Cassie Huang. Sophia Grace Moy. Omar Castrat. Julius J. Caraballo. Andres Zen Afant. Allison Choi. Stephen John Cooney Jr. Samantha Madison Kaplan. Joseph George Anthony Rickey. Michael Trefaro III. Eamon Washington Reaver Dillon. Matthew Evan Meyer. Ethan Gee. Joshua K. Meisels. Tristan James Gilbert. Natalie Christine Khalil. Elaine Swee. Vivian Yan. Janet Liu. Athen Young. Sam Ng. Ariana Q. Wutan. Chuangda Lang. Jillian Marie Sanders. Michael J. Turacamo. Matthew J. Young. Christian Kruer. Brooke Cassandra Lubransky. Amy Christine Bracado. Emily Rose Kuriasa. Michaela Marie Sedlasik. Laura Nicole Zaban. Trinity Marie Agnes Fossey. Anthony Cheng. Paul Lee. Ziheng Liang. Jimmy Wang. Mandy Wing Yi Liang. Vivian Lee. Taylor Mui. Jesse Wu. Yui Shimada. Annie Chen. Benjamin Zahn. Molly Elizabeth Cronin. Douglas Robert Boylan. Jaleel Corey Brandon Glasgow. Curtis Lau. Tara Marie Bustillo. Alyssa Downey Cluso. Runbing Zhang. Jesse Z. Yang. Danpeng Chen. Zihao Mei. Jia Wei Lu. Xiaoting Yu. Ray Higashi. Aiden Douglas Helrigal. Michael Evan Zavarev. Rebecca Markovich. Logan Richard Gumbel. Tyler Jacob Martin. Jordan A. Rayner. Seongbin Lee. Sujin Kwan. Dabin Kim. Kayla Ma. Abby Yan. Annabelle Cheng. Shahi Simlovich. Renee McCall Agajan. Arya Yusakar Sharf. Shira Aviva Rosenkrantz. Jeremy Boss. Akiva Cohen. Eric Tewan Yam. Caitlin Chow. Brian Park. Alice Hay In Kim. Timothy Nelson Suhu. Ronan Kim. Christopher Yam. Junhyuk Young. Kyungwon Kim. Matthew A. Saboni. Alex Leiter. Ryan William Bray. Carlos R. Jara. Caitlin Rose Pranito. Maria Porokina. Gabriella Kate Schindler. Annalise Sanchez. Michael Voorhees. Zoha Sabuhi Khan. Kristen Elizabeth Scanlon. John J. Green. Jeremy Fighter. Emily Nicole Roma. Samantha Joy Scheffler. Svetlina Iliva. Stefana Stan. Diego Damian Vargas. Tyler Reynolds. Gregory Harrison Paul. William Alexander Statman. Tori Alexander Jacobson Evans. George Joseph Spring. Leo Joshua Strahevsky. Evan John Rapp. Megan Lee Riley. Rachel Paredes. Hannah Grace Capon. Julia Catherine Cranenberg. Vikasini Nada Kumar. Miran Ulhaq. Brendan Michael Deneen. Jenna Jade Chan. Samantha Lynn Spano. Brandon Anthony Love. Jessica M. Foston. Zachary Elijah Goldberg. Matthew Stephen Tract. Andrew John Burkert. Zachary Evan Cohen. Ryan Joseph McDonough. Zachary Nolan Moya. Brett Sira.
At this time, we will recognize the accomplishments from the School of Management's METU Dual Degree Diploma Program. This year marks the 17th graduating class from the Binghamton University Middle Eastern Technical University Dual Diploma Program. President Stenger, I am pleased to present to you these candidates who have fulfilled all their baccalaureate degree requirements as prescribed by the faculty. At this time, the METU Dual Diploma candidates will come to the platform just like they are, so that they may receive recognition for their academic achievement.
Eje Caraveliolu. Ali Efe Dinler. Sude Modolu.
I would now like everyone to rise as they're able as we sing the Binghamton University alma mater. We invite everyone to join in singing the refrain and second verse. The lyrics are found on the back cover of the commencement program. Baccalaureate degree candidates, please remain standing. Everyone else may be seated. President Stenger, I am honored to present to you these candidates for the baccalaureate degree by the university. For those who have that's your line. Yeah.
I got it. She's a good dean. For those who have successfully completed all degree requirements by the authority vested in me by the Chancellor and the Board of Trustees of the State University of New York and the Board of Regents of the University of the State of New York, I confer on each of you the appropriate baccalaureate degree with all the rights and privileges accompanying it. On behalf of the Binghamton University community, I congratulate you all for this well-earned accomplishment. As is customary upon conferral of the baccalaureate degree, you may now move the tassel on your cap from the right to the left. Will all the School of Management's graduates please stand? Masters and bachelors, ladies and gentlemen, parents, partners, and friends, I present to you the Binghamton University School of Management graduating class of 2024.
The spring commencement proceedings of the State University of New York at Binghamton are now concluded. We ask the audience to remain seated for the academic recessional. Once the academic recessional is completed, please exit as soon as you are able.
Thank you.